did that.
Stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the meeting to order. Approval of the agenda.
A couple of things on there, if we could. On the Register of Deeds deputy wage increase, there just needs to be an and in there, so Register of Deeds and deputy wage increase, if we could make that change.
Okay.
I don't know if we can add anything, but do we need to have an approval response to Al in that audit?
I did that.
Do we need to have a motion by the board to accept that, I guess, in a minute, in the official minutes? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay. And then review the job description for the highway superintendent. Did we,
I got that.
is that on here, or can we,
No, I think we need to add it.
can we add that, I guess?
And add didn't get Ryan from last meeting.
We talked about that under that line item. Are we okay adding that? I think that would be a very controversial thing. So I guess that would make, my motion would be to accept the agenda with those changes and with flexibility.
No second.
Okay, so the superintendent wants.
I just want to review the job description for the highway superintendent and secretary.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Approved January 22nd meeting minutes.
I got one correction. Seventh page. He's talking about the board. It's a 2020. Be a 2025 Honda Pioneer,
Oh, 2025?
not a 2022 Honda Ranch.
2025.
Pioneer. That's my correction, I see.
Anyone else?
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the January 22nd meeting minutes with one correction.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Public comment?
I have some public comment, but I would really appreciate Sarah being here when I give my public comment. If there's any way we can either wait for that to happen,
Go back to it.
because I think Sarah's probably going to need to be in here to hear what I have to say, if that's possible.
From what I know, she's at the doctor. Don't know that she'll be here, but maybe, huh?
Told you, man, you have to cover this.
Hey, and I said, no.
Or I can do it now if you'd like.
Let's just do it now.
Okay. I have a packet for each of you.
Excuse me. Bill.
Jay. State's attorney. Public, would you like a copy for the paper? Anybody else like a public packet? wherever. I don't have enough for everybody, I'm sorry. So, I'm here as a taxpayer of Bennett County. And I am asking for the resignation of some Bennett County Commissioners. So I wrote up a little deal here, and it states, I'm going to give you the reasons first. Whereas Bennett County Commissioners have gone rigorously over budget in consecutive years by an estimate of $641,469,000 in 2024 and $455,000 in 2023. That's money over the budget, over the approved budget. So whereas South Dakota State Law 721-17 states that county commissioners that made authorized contracts on behalf of the county are to be held personally liable for contracts exceeding the approved annual budget. Whereas the Bennett County Commissioners violated 721-22 in 2024 and also in 2023 and failed to give proper detailed budget supplement and proper legal notice of 10 days for a budget supplement hearing is required by state law to the Bennett County taxpayers. Whereas State Auditor Al Schaefer stated numerous violations in the county's biannual report, including illegal bid findings and violations of the bid letting laws that stated in Schaefer's findings in document finding 22-001 in January 22nd County Commissioner Agenda Packet. Whereas failure to follow said bidding laws has resulted in major ongoing lawsuit between contractor Seplica Trucking and Bennett County, which will most certainly result in Bennett County's paying Seplica Trucking an additional plus minus $300,000 after Schaefer's findings. I, as a taxpayer of Bennett County, request the resignation of current county commissioners David Bakley, Cole Donovan, Susan Williams, Bill Livermont. Per South Dakota law, I am demanding that all expenditures past the legally approved annual budget of 2023 and 24 be repaid by such said commissioners, including Keely Clausen. The next page is the laws that you guys have violated, not including what was in the packet and in today's meeting minutes that you just approved by Al Schaefer. There's 2 pages of laws here that you have violated. You'll find a resignation letter in your packet that only requires your signature to step down today. The back page of this packet is a request. And pursuant to Law 721-17, the Bennett County Commissioners during the years of 2023 and 24, and I've listed your names, including Keely Clausen, are all equally responsible for the excess spending of the overage in the approved budget incurred in 2023 of $455,000 and 2024 of $641,000 and some change. According to state law, each commissioner is responsible for repaying this money to Bennett County. The total amount spent is $96,000 for a total responsible of $219,293 each. The taxpayers of Bennett County request that you please make your checks payable to the Bennett County Treasurer for $219,000 each. So that's all that I have, I guess, to say about this part. You have no response?
Nope. You done?
No, I'm not.
Your 5 minutes are up.
So you guys were going to give us an update on the plan for the roads for 2025 as of in February. I'm just curious, did that ever get made public, the road plan?
Later on in the meeting.
Okay, you stated that that would be in January and reiterated that at the end of the last meeting. So I do request this, and I'm hoping that I can get an answer from you about this packet. Hopefully by the end of the meeting.
I've got one comment to make on that finding, 2022-01. That was for the audit year of 2022, in which you were a commissioner.
Correct. And Schaefer also stated in his packet that after his findings, it preceded him to go into 2023 and 2024.
But this finding was, I just wanted to make it clear
Correct.
that Just
I'm-
when you were a commissioner.
I don't disagree there.
Okay, I just wanted to clear that.
So as per the law of
5 minutes
17,
is up.
Okay.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Vice Chair, it was just touched on, could I receive a written copy of your highway plan for 2025 when you get to it in the meeting, please? Mr. Chairman, one of the items I was going to visit on today was a truck for the state that is on the agenda. Thank you for that. The next thing that comes to mind is the Dissent property. Is there any chance that the city and the county are going to finalize whatever can be finalized on that property that's been in limbo for how many years now?
I think we're waiting on this.
I think they're waiting for somebody to come in and survey it to move those lines where that one building was put up.
Oh,
Yeah, it needs to be surveyed, I guess
Part of
that
it's
never
on,
did get
part
done.
of it's on the city and part of it's on Cozad, and I think we've been waiting for the surveyor to come and correct those lines. Cause that building sits half on both properties.
Jeff, you have anything to add to that?
I just, what she said is my understanding, that they were,
And I thought the city was gonna do that,
Have it platted or replatted.
to fix the lines.
I think it was Fred himself that kind of drew up it and it was messed up kind of, and he did that, so it had to be all redone. Is what my memory.
That's what mine is.
Okay. What is the ultimate goal, I guess, with it? Just to get it platted and then make a decision what to do with it?
Right.
Oh, gotcha.
because it's not completely in the city and the county's name yet, correct? With the property?
Not with the proper.
Legal description, basically, or the proper plat or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the legal description that's used is what's currently there, so it's accepted because they have to take what's
Yeah.
already there, but I think it needs to be replatted just for the fact that it's not an accurate legal description.
The property lines aren't in line with where the building's built.
Right.
That's all I know.
So could it be suggested that the city is slack on presenting a proper survey and deed?
I think we have a deed, it's just not, we're gonna have maybe a new one drawn up.
I guess my last thought to all 5 of these commissioners, in some of my recent reading, I've come across where a local government, state, county, school, whatever, when there is an expenditure of tax dollars, it's customary that that motion be run as a roll call vote. Just to clarify, if there's any question of who may or may not approve an expenditure, the record is clear. If you would like to consider that or not, it's just a thought, and I thank you for your time. Thank you.
Any more public comment?
I would like to, a little bit if you could, just in response to Judd, I guess, basically. So, I hope to kind of look at moving forward in the future correctly as much as we can. I don't think any of those that are set at this table meant to do any harm to our community. They've all been lifelong residents here. And I'd rather work together to find solutions and move forward if possible together.
I appreciate that. Unfortunately, Chairman Bakley stated in a meeting that this was going to be an experiment. He never offered a budget or any definition of his experiment. He never provided the county taxpayers with a plan, a budget, or anything, and I feel like it is a malfeasance in office issue, where he has spent our money completely erroneously, and I'm not happy, and his experiment has failed.
Yeah.
And he is not willing to step forward and say, I made an error. I should have never put Bennett County into this experiment. I have him on record stating that to us in this meeting that it's an experiment, and I have a lot of trouble with that.
Gotcha. I just don't think it was meant to do any harm, sort of a thing.
I
We're just trying to
appreciate
figure
it.
things
I
out.
would like him to put an end to his experiment with our money, though.
That's all I got.
A lot. I would really
So the
appreciate it.
dump truck to the city. I had Paul had talked to us. I brought it up. He made it. We kind of came up with $10,000. They agreed to it, and it's actually been approved guess we just need to go
So-
forward on that,
You need a motion to sell the dump truck to the city. What is the dollar amount?
10,000. It's that brown one that they use for chip sealing.
And they've been using it for a long time anyway, right? And kind of some trade or whatever, but they just want to buy it now and wash their hands of it. I guess I would make the motion that we sell the dump truck, a brown dump truck to the city for $10,000.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Second. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Local contract.
I put that on there. I would just want to see the contract, I guess. Do we have a contract?
It's a bid awarded, like we were talking the other day. Sarah can explain that if she was here.
Maybe sometime just see that. I think it's key to staying within budget to have firm fixed price contracts going forward. And so that we can, and with clear scope, so that we can know what budget number one, and then number two, you can tell if that was all accomplished, what was in that contract basically. I think it would be helpful for budgeting. Kind of fitting in that, our gravel piles, we had talked a little bit about gravel piles a little bit. We buy gravel by the ton, right? That's how we've made contracts in the past. But we have no load tickets, we don't know how much tonnage went anywhere. Right?
There's no scale on it. The only scale would be like on their loader.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just kind of going off of what Al talked about a little bit. He wanted to know how many tons are going to a certain area on the road and all of that stuff. And so we might need to find a solution to that if possible. Josh, I think he's a good guy. He's working on it, but at the same time, doing volume measurements on piles doesn't give you tonnage, you know what I'm saying? And so that could be a potential issue.
Well, I mean,
We just gotta have
any
this
terrain
checks.
will make it heavier. You know, I mean,
We should be buying it by the volume then. It's just the piles, I don't know if we bought like a pile or we bought tonnage and then like when we bought all that tonnage, the contract is completed, or if we just like calculated what a pile was in tonnage and bought that pile.
I know he was gonna have a third party come out and measure the pile, see if they come up with the same.
Same thing. So my only concern is checks and balances. But go ahead, Lou.
I can't remember what that technology that he uses, but
Yeah, they measure the pile,
Yeah.
basically.
They do it with a flyover, and they also do a test that gets sent off. And I know it's been measured at least 2, if not 3 times. If you would like, I think you could table this and have Josh come and explain it to you at your next meeting. He could not be here today.
And you are, I guess, just like
I'm his office manager.
office manager. Okay. So sometimes when that gets done, so my only concern is, there could be, if this is sitting at a pit that isn't being watched, so there's just rooms for error. I mean, there could be some other trucks loaded out of that pile, we would never know it. I mean, it's just, but I do understand the scale issue. But I think it's just something that needs to be looked at, and I just would like to see that contract, because it's really important that we have a firm fixed price contract with clear scope, so that we don't get into a bind.
How much money would it save Bennett County to buy their own scale, since there's not an operational one in town?
Yeah, we gotta look at solutions, and that's what I'm interested about, trying to find things out about, right? Maybe it's a portable scale that can be set up at the gravel pit that they own, and those trucks have to come out, and then that scale ticket has to match up with where it goes on the road or something. I think that just the chance of error, is great there. I just know of one incident where you probably know about this, where we should have been charged one rate, but we were charged a much higher rate.
That was my fault.
But those are errors, and that was caught. That might not have been caught. So
You
it's,
should thank Jolene for that.
yeah, but that's one that we know of. So there's a lot of potential there for error, and there needs to be systems put in place so that doesn't happen, I guess is my concern. But I guess that's all I had on that. If I see a get some information on that contact, I guess. That's all I'll be asking, so, that's all.
Okay, gravel permit for Dennis Bakeland. He's wanting 25 loads. Is he planting, trucking, or,
I had visited Sarah a little bit about this. We accepted all bids from all gravel piles. Just for who wants what, or where it lays out in the county. When we do this kind of, what do you call this, request, I think they have the right to get whatever gravel they have. So I will make the motion to approve Dennis Bakley for 25 loads out of the Whipple pit for pit run. Between beginning summer 2025 to fall 2025 on 233rd and 234th Avenue.
we have a motion, we have a second? Second. We have a second, all in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Bennett County Weed and Pest Board.
Nope.
Right. We'll come back.
Art payments, Walmart and Nationwide, Department of Labor, City and School.
Those are the ones that we would like to set up, ACH payments and or EFT. Department of Labor, I already do EFT. Walmart, because of the timing of payroll, if those bills are not paid, received in our office by the 1st, we're getting late fees. We would like permission to log into the Walmart website and pay them through the website so that they're paid. We've probably, and Stella was working on this before she left, but I think we've got like $400 in late fees, because when our payrolls don't hit until that last week of the month, there's no way they're gonna receive it in the mail. This way we could automatically transmit it the day of payroll. And the same with Nationwide is Don Larson's. They have been pushing for years for us to pay through their website and not wait for the checks, and it would be just, it's done. The city and the school would probably be an ACH through Security First Bank's Court Link. I know Jolene Robinson has agreed to it and agreed to give me the information to do it, and I don't see the city having a problem with it. And that way, the minute we run the transmittals, we can give them the money, because they're, like I said, due by the 15th. Our meetings are not always by the 15th. Then we have to do manual checks. It would just simplify those to be done, be paid, and be on time.
You just need approval for an AC, did you submit ACH payments to them?
Instead of writing them checks that you guys approve. I mean, you're
It's-
still gonna get the amounts on the reports of disbursements.
The ACH, well, yeah. The only thing that we run into is we have to approve the payment, but if we didn't approve a payment, it would still be taken out probably, and we'd have to go through that process as well.
But the Walmart is our Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance.
Gotcha.
I mean, we have nothing to say about that.
Okay.
The Nationwide is an automatic payment that we take out of Don Larson's check every 2 weeks for his retirement. Department of Labor, all we pay is the administration. I mean, and the city and the school is
They're
money
free.
that we collect for them. It's a wash. We collect it and then we pay it out to them. So they're not really expenditures in the sense of the disbursements that we do at the second meeting.
Fixed expenses, basically.
Yes.
Gotcha. I mean, yeah, I would make a motion that we approve ACH payments to, as presented.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
Second. Go ahead.
Second.
We have a second, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Old new business, picture for director's book.
Yeah, I just put that in there so we don't forget this time.
I was told Lakota, we can't have two papers for the official,
Oh, we can't?
no. So we need to take Lakota times off.
Alright.
Who, I mean, where'd you get the information, I guess, that you can't have two papers?
From the ex-commissioner.
I mean, we can always put it in two papers, but we we have to designate one as our official
Only
record
designate
keeper.
one.
I mean, we can put it in whatever paper we want it, but we have to have one that's a record keeper that's designated.
I see.
And I guess this is just an FYI, I have the Rural Access Infrastructure Fund. You have maps and Rose had done an inventory on the culverts and bridges that would be eligible. We need to look at how we can use those funds to maintain or replace culverts and bridges on I think there's 68,000 in there. So we need to look at how we can spend that money. And this is the inventory that Rose did for us. And these are eligible. We just have to take a look and see what needs to be done and how we can access that money.
And then, Jason just gave he wanted you guys to have the report there. That's why that's in there.
Any more old or new business? Moving on, Jeff Cisco's wage for DOE and EM.
On that's just, when we did our yearly designations the first of the year, I had them in as 50-50, so 50 DOE, 50 for emergency. Now that we have Kelly, we don't need Jeff in the DOE as much, so it's gonna go emergency 80 and the DOE 20. So we just wanted to make sure we had a record of that.
Register of Deeds and Deputy wage increase.
Yep, so I just had that put on there. I think it's something maybe to look at. It looked like that was a budget item that was under budget, and there is room for doing a little with even the inside budget, doing and bringing that wage up just a little bit potentially. Do you guys, what are your guys' thoughts on that? I guess discussion, I guess is what.
Let's go in executive session for personnel on that one first, before we agree to that one.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to go in executive session for personnel 1-25-2, parentheses 1, just commissioners.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second, all in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. We're now in executive session at 9:58.
Get over it. I don't have, no, she got me sick.
We are back in at 11:14. Action.
I make a motion that we give JC, the Register of Deeds, $1 an hour raise, and her deputy $1 an hour raise, and add an additional 5 hours to the deputy's time, weekly time.
Effective way.
Effective.
Mary, when's the next pay period?
Next week, so starting Monday would be the next one.
Effective Monday?
Effective Monday.
Effective Monday. That would be my motion.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We have a second, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Bennett County Weed and Pest Board.
You're up, Troy.
I'm just here to represent the weed board, that's all, and wanted to get a little bit of funding to further the program in the county. So, who knows the specifics, I guess.
I informed the board last time. The grant money that we're applying for does not coverize motorized vehicles. It only coverize, equipment that's not licensed. So we're wanting to purchase a side-by-side for $18,000.
roughly. A little less than, but roughly.
And probably a little additional funding to cover our expenses for the grant until the grant comes in. We have to pay for like a sprayer or chemical or repairs. Well, repairs don't come from the grant, but sprayer and chemicals, the grant pays for half of that, but they don't pay that back until we pay for it, and then May 31st is when we get reimbursed of the following year. That's correct.
That sounds like the way it's supposed to work, yeah.
So I guess we're asking for additional funding on the budget side. Because the budget on the weed board is only $9,500.
9,000.
9,000.
20,000 year before.
No.
I guess we kind of feel that, you know, the weed in the county have not been taken care of very well over the last 10 years when we haven't had anybody there, so there's a big gap in there and what needs to be taken care of. Noxious weeds across the county have kind of gone wild.
What's your proposal, I guess, as far as additional funding
Well, I don't know, 36,000, I think is what we had talked about
Total.
total, and then, you know, like this side by side is 17.6, and then we need some chemicals. The chemicals and the sprayer part of it would be part of the 50/50 grant with the state. But the superintendent's salary is not, and the side by side would not be covered by any part of the grant. So that would be the county's responsibility.
So how would that work on bookkeeping? Like we're gonna get reimbursed 50% of that on the chemical. We gotta have the funds there to pay for it,
Right.
and then we're gonna get reimbursed.
If you need it, you can take, when the grant comes in, you can do an automatic supplement.
Because that's what the money was sent for. It won't get put back into the budget until we supplement the budget. It goes to a separate line item, but because it's a grant, then you can use it for an automatic supplement.
But the grant don't come in until May of 2026.
Oh,
I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe Susan, you have some light on that from what it used to be when you had a weed supervisor. If they submitted bills, were they reimbursed, you know, all along, but the final had to be in by May? How did that work?
I'm not sure if, it depends on how the grant, what the grant says on when the money comes in. It's not a big problem when you know the money's gonna come in. That, you're talking 2026, the grant's not coming in till?
Grant starts in June 1st of this year.
Well, we got
But
We
we
got
still
two-
got a few months of last year's.
I forgot. That's,
Whatever we can get submitted by the end of May this year.
right, I forgot. I'm sorry. We have a grant in place right now that will pay for chemical and
This way.
sprayer.
the sprayer would be roughly 3,500, 4,000 to put in the side by side chemicals.
To do an automatic supplement, you have to get the funds the same amount, the same year that it was spent.
Right, but if they put in this for this year and had it submitted by the end of May, we should have it before the end of December.
Then you could do an automatic supplement on that.
So do we need to have a supplemental budget deal or not?
Not on an automatic. No.
But we're spurring over 9,000.
The only hearings you have to have is if you're just supplementing. If you're doing a contingency transfer or an automatic supplement, you don't have to have a hearing on it, because that's just money that you're getting in.
But you would probably still need a hearing if you're asking
If
for
you do a
additional money
supplement.
to buy the side by side.
because with side by side and steward's wages, it's 27,000, and then half the chemical, half the sprayer, you're looking at another additional, I can figure $10,000. So yeah, you're right about $7,000
Total or
total.
total, so less nines, you're looking to
Yep.
supplement the budget.
Yep. 27,000.
7,000.
So I guess unless we take it out of contingency.
Is there any way to, of course you want it for this year, is there any way that we budget for that, start it next year? Probably no way.
They lose the grant.
They lose the grant, okay.
I'm assuming you lose the grant.
Well, we got another one in place for 26.
But it doesn't cover the side by side.
Because it's not licensed.
Side by sides can be licensed. It's a motorized vehicle.
Okay. If it couldn't be licensed, then it could fall under.
I think
Even if you didn't license it, it doesn't, it's anything that's titled,
Yeah.
it can be licensed, they will cover it.
And did you bring that paper I gave you on, what are the county's budget for weed and pest board? Not to draw a comparison, but
Comparison.
we're like
I get that.
What is it? What's the difference?
about $40,000-$50,000
For like other counties or whatever you're saying, or
for budget.
for the wheat?
Some of them are well over 100,000, 180. Kingston County was what?
I imagine Pennington would be pretty high.
Yeah, but I mean, we're not comparing.
Yeah,
So, be realistic.
Yes, what do we need to do?
Okay, tell me specifically, what are you asking for? How much? You're asking to supplement the budget 36,000.
27,000.
27,000.
28,000.
But some of that money will be coming back, not be coming back.
Not
Okay. Well, why don't you just hold a hearing? You can either do a contingency transfer or just hold a hearing.
do a hearing,
Yeah, you just have to publish it for a couple weeks and we can hold it within them. And get it in the paper right away, we can do it at the next meeting.
So do you word it, just a hearing for weed board supplement?
You'd have to look back and see what.
So I suppose you gotta have a motion and a vote on that, right? To do the hearing.
To do the hearing, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll make a
And does
motion.
does that give us enough time? You have to publish it twice? You have to publish it once or twice?
I'll go join
10 days. 10 days notice.
10 days notice,
So it's gonna have to be in,
so not next meeting, but the meeting after.
just publish it once.
I'll double check and make sure.
So if we publish it in, say, next Wednesday's paper, then we'd have time, that'd be enough time for the,
It's only gonna be 7 days. So we'll have to do it on March 5th meeting. The hearing.
and that can be scheduled just during the meeting.
At 10 o'clock.
Okay, I make a motion that we do a budget hearing on March 5th.
For report.
a motion, we have a second,
I'll second.
we have a second, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Troy. You have your answer March 5th. You have your answer March 5th.
Okay.
Superintendent, job description.
This is kind of what Sarah and I and Bill kind of worked on. This is what she had on file.
Do Do we have the highway secretary duties, kind of included in this?
Part of the assume overall responsibility for the administration and coordination of all activities related to county highway department.
Okay.
Keep the detailed records and cost,
That's all, yep, that's all in here.
prepare and file. Yeah,
Codified laws are in here. She had a codified law sheet that she added to this.
So when I advertise for it, just say,
Pick up details.
pick up details and county auditor's office.
Running for 2 weeks probably. Do we just want to do the Bennett County paper or we want to stretch out a little bit? We go on the Rhapsody paper.
Might do it in the quota times.
We do, like what else?
could put it in a profit.
Rhapsody journal.
But the back of the Brewster, isn't there something about doing statewide advertising?
And this is really good because it gives scope and clear, information to what's expected of them. Something that you could did it or they didn't do it.
There's a state website too where you can post jobs. And that's free of charge.
It's like, give them, remote, I don't have a chance to read through all of it.
So you want to do state website, Brewster, I'll put a time to talk with Rhapsody journal. You guys all good with that?
Do it for 2 weeks.
I'll make a motion to run the highway department. This wasn't on the agenda.
I had the, review job description again, is what I said at the beginning when I done the, approval of the agenda, so. But we did it the last meeting, so I don't think we need one, we just, it's just, basically just, this is what we're approving.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve the highway department superintendent duties, I guess, or the
Job description.
job description.
I second that.
We have a motion, we have a second, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Any more executive session needed?
I don't need one, but I can read this out loud just real quick for Mr. Fogg. He's been patiently waiting over there.
I try to behave myself.
Old and new business?
Sure. Yeah, open old new business. So, I'm gonna give a little update on the highway department on, as Joe called it, the experiment. Our experiment has been working as me and Bill and whoever else thinks it's working. We've been averaging $30,000 a month on blade work. And then there's other additional costs as to culverts being put in and black pipe. As we project, as we've been doing this for 6 months and seeing how this is gonna go, if it's costing the county $30,000 a month, it's gonna cost $360,000 a year for maintenance, 3-way pass or 3-way blade. And then if you put some projects on there, we'll like 10 miles of road at 35,000 miles of road is now 350,000. $710,000. And if you got another 40,000 for mowing and 30,000 for snow, it's just rough figures. We should have a surplus of $100,000 to $140,000 to our budget this year. And that's covering 10 miles of rebuilding road at $35,000 a mile. Most of the time it's coming under about 5 to 10,000, but we just read $35,000 a mile for reference. So we have a real good grip on this, what we're feeling is going to happen. $360,000 just for blade work is what costs the county for 7 employees a year, plus their insurance at what they were getting paid before. We're trying to save maintenance, insurance, all that stuff. So I just want to throw that out there.
Can we ask questions on that?
Sure.
For $30,000 a month, how many miles of road does that cover in blading?
Don't quote me on this. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I don't want to misquote it.
How much of that $750,000 is spent inside of Bennett County?
What do you mean, Joe?
We're putting out roughly $750,000. I don't remember the exact number you just gave us, but how much of that money is being brought back into our county?
Is to road work?
As far as you said 7 employees would cost us that $360,000. More than likely, those 7 employees would live inside of Bennett County, would buy groceries here, would buy fuel here, would invest back into our community. Of that $360,000 in 7 employees that would add to our community, how much of that is being reinvested back in Bennett County tax dollars is being reinvested back into Bennett County?
I don't have an exact number on that, but I do know that when they do a road project, most of the local trucks are on that road project,
Getting their fuel here?
getting their fuel.
And that $700, that's also insurance and stuff too, cost. That don't come back to the county on employees. So you can't just say it's 700,
You don't think it comes back to this community?
not all of it.
When they need health care off of that insurance, they don't go to the Bennett County Hospital to get health care?
But the insurance,
Correct. That insurance allows them to go to the Bennett County Hospital.
How many?
And I'm just pointing out that money, every dollar spent inside this community regenerates how much more money, how much spending, how many pockets does a dollar spent in this community go back into? How much gets spent at the bowling alley for supper? You know, I mean,
I can say a lot. And Julian can vouch for that one.
well, I'm not talking about how much Josh actually takes you guys out. I'm talking about his employees and all of that. So, yeah, that's what I'm pointing out is the money keeps getting turned over and over in Bennett County and not getting taken to Nebraska. So,
If you want to compare apples to apples, Judd, Dakota Mart's not locally owned. Family Dollar General's not locally owned. Yes Way's not.
doesn't hire anybody local either, does it?
We gotta work on all that as a community, and I think we can, but,
I agree. I'm just saying as
yeah,
as
it's something to consider.
person of the community, I'd sure like to see a lot more of our tax dollars put back into our community.
Is there more report to that?
Oh, yeah, I just got one more. So, we have just shy of $500,000 in gravel between two pits.
Between the May and the Whipple pit.
Correct.
Okay.
I think you guys kind of remember that, but we do have $490,174 between the May pit, Whipple pit, and what's in the county shop.
This kind of gets to what I kind of was talking about a little bit too, so I appreciate you kind of explaining this. This has helped me as well. I want to just make sure we're protecting those assets of the county, also those piles.
Right.
Yeah.
So where do we find
that gravel up to Maze?
where do we find the funding to haul it into the county?
Hang on a second, Joe. What'd you say, Bob?
That gravel up to Maze, you guys went back up there and screened some more. We had enough to do that loop. We're short 20,000. Nobody kept track of that.
What are you talking about?
You guys didn't have enough gravel to finish that loop over there, so you had to go up and screen more. There was supposed to be enough to do that whole loop.
Do you not remember, Bob, what we discussed about that?
What?
I'll remind the public again. 10,000 went to Mr. Scott's road.
Okay, where's the other 10?
So he's only short 10,000, not 20,000.
That's a lot of gravel.
So moving forward in the future, that's something we just want to look at options to make sure that we can watch
And it
that.
might have got put down heavier than,
So you guys are saying it got down, how many loads got put it down a mile? On that loop.
I don't remember. What'd you ask, Judd?
How you were planning on funding all of that gravel getting into the county? And Josh did state that almost 100 loads got put down per mile when only 60 loads per mile was budgeted for that loop. So you would have had plenty of gravel if somebody would have been keeping an eye on things and not 100 loads per mile being put down.
I
distinctly,
you gotta, I think I would rather have it done heavier while the trucking was there, and you're better off getting it done heavier than putting it down light.
Even if you can't afford to do that,
In the long run, you're gonna be money ahead.
well, in the long run, we'd probably be better money ahead to pave all the roads then. I mean, if we just have all this free money,
I think we hope going forward that the highway superintendent, this position that we're putting out, will help us manage things
Hope so,
going
too.
into the future. I hope that we can have some success with that, I guess. And then, a potential for like the gravel, since we're buying it by the ton, if we could look at the option of maybe I don't know, a scale at the site, or maybe that's not feasible, I don't know. But, anyway, maybe something we can look at in the future. What else is that?
my issue, Jay, is this board has been trying to hire a superintendent for 2 years now.
Uh-huh.
They've micromanaged and everything, and just like this job description, it keeps ever evolving into where they never hire a highway superintendent. There's never anybody actually overseeing the highway department. And they've failed this 2 years, like I pointed out during the last meeting. You have a great responsibility on your hands of managing 4 people on this board, and I thank you for being here and asking these questions. But this is a great responsibility on you, because you are only one vote to be able to oversee this board.
Well, we'll all work on it together. Yeah.
Mr. Fogg, you have a question.
I do, Mr. Donovan,
You've
Vice
been
Chair.
very quiet over there. You wanted this, so
I don't want to interrupt the ongoing conversation, but did I hear you suggest that the per mile cost is up to 35,000?
for redoing our road.
Okay. I tried
That's
to
pulling it
remember, and I'm sure the Mr. Chairman, excuse me, is going to correct me. Last year, the price was around 22,000 per mile of material, and did we have a conversation about 30 grand a mile in place?
That was my estimate.
Okay. My question is inflation that bad?
That was my estimate.
Right.
I
I totally agree.
and then that's not also pulling up the road. That was my estimate on trucking and gravel. That was it.
The 21 or 22.
Yeah, and I was off.
I'm not gonna argue that.
Okay.
But I think further, I made a suggestion, does that come out to approximately 30 grand a mile? In place. In place, you would hopefully cut your box before you bring the gravel, and then finish the gravel. Cut the box as preparation.
When he's throwing that one, that's also putting in water, hauling water, was just, like I said, that was just the two things I said.
Trying to get some rough numbers, yeah.
I'm gonna throw this out there too, so everybody can think about it. If we would have a highway department, 7 employees, as of today, I found out it costs $35 an hour to get a good, I don't wanna say certified, but a good employee to run a blade. This is before, health or benefits. 580,000 just for 7 employees. That's before benefits, health, and all that. Maintenance on equipment, 150,000. Payments on equipment, 250,000. Our budget is 890,000. We're gonna be behind 90,000. We haven't even touched the road yet.
You just brought up a great point, Lou. Amazing great point that I think the board should act on right now. You just put out an advertisement for a highway superintendent. Why don't you advertise for a blade man at $35 an hour, which Bennett County has never done before. Never been heard of in Bennett County paying a blade man $35 an hour. You wonder why we can't get good quality employees here. Put an advertisement in the paper at $35 an hour and let's see who we get applying. That's a great
We
idea.
probably get a lot of play, but you didn't understand my concept.
I do get your concept. We've never came anywhere close to paying the blade operator $35 an
Your
hour.
numbers previously, you kind of thought that there would be a 100 and some thousand under budget,
Under budget,
kind of where we're headed right now,
that's where we're heading right now.
without buying additional gravel, because we already have stockpile gravel though. I mean, that's,
At least a room for highway secretary,
If,
superintendent, and then we have, who knows what Mother Nature's gonna throw at us.
Mhm.
But
I have one more question. You have a budget, and you have things apparently budgeted. Do you have the revenue in the highway department to cover the budget? Because from an accounting standpoint, the money that's been transferred over the last 2 years is not a legal transfer. And according to the state auditor, when that comes as a repercussion through the accounting process, that money is out of the highway budget already. So at some point, you're going to have to transfer a lot of money back into the highway department. So do you have the revenue to suffice the budget that you have? Do you have the money actually sitting there, the cash budget, which we didn't get in last week's or 2 weeks ago's agenda, the actual cash figures of what's sitting in the highway department? You have a budget, but do you have the cash to actually back up your budget is what I'm asking.
In order to do a budget, you have to balance your revenue with your expenses. That's
Correct.
what the annual
But the
budget is.
expenses have far outweighed what's been budgeted
We're
for the
only
last
in
2 years.
January.
Right, but the money that disappeared, the $1,096,000 that I brought up earlier, where did that money come from? The overspending of the budget, the transferring of the money, the $455,000 in '23, the $641,000 this year. Where did that money actually come from? Because when I was a commissioner, we had a surplus of money every year that we put into the jail, like to fund a jail.
Jeff, I would assume that come out of the general fund, right?
Right. So some of these accounts that we've set aside that we've put money into, say the jail fund, we used to set money aside for that. Is that money actually getting used? Like the jail fund, is that getting lowered?
what's that, Joe?
We used to put money into a jail fund to build a jail eventually. Is the money coming out of that fund, like the surplus money we set
I
aside?
didn't know that answer. The jail funds hasn't been there since you were commissioner.
No, it's there.
It's not there.
I think you guys would rather it to the highway building fund.
Thank you, Jolene.
I don't think so.
I think so.
that's what you were into.
I don't remember that ever getting
I'm
moved
in a
out,
motion
so.
to adjourn.
We have
I'm
a
done.
motion. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We are now adjourned at 11:45.
It's too late now, you shut me out the door early.
right.
But I'm still gonna offer a thank you to the chairman for clarifying the conversation.
Thank you, Dave.
I can't wait to read next week's paper.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't forget those pictures.
Yes, thank you. I even wrote it in big,